This that CSZ gang. They said pull up, so I came. You better put some respect on their name. Yeah, 55, what's goody? Kill the vibe, how could it? Big Cardinal on the hoodie. Let me break it down for you fully. This ain't your average broadcast. This ain't just no podcast. The mother shows spread fake news. We just call them broadcast. West, Joey, Sam, Sean, Dalton. And you know that boy Higgy. He said he don't want no small fries. Tell them they better make them biggie. Yeah, you already know what we be on. We got the crown, we hold the throne. We throw the mails and you take them home. When they ring the bells, you know that it's home. The bar set, we setting the tone. If we set it, then set it in stone. Sit in the streets, set up your phone. You in the Cardinal sports zone.
And welcome to the first spring, I guess you'd call it. First quarter edition of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast. We're here on you and for you. Sean's missing out today. We are here for you every Sunday at 2:00. I'm excited. I love doing these ones earlier in the day. Shout out to Robbie in here joining us, Corey, Brandon, Robert, Cashmere, TJ, everybody that's in here. We appreciate y'all. Wait a minute, get a little bit of echo. Let me boop, boop. All right, here we go. I'm your host, of course, as always, an industry plant, Jeremy Wallman. Here with my co-host, though, today, it is our women's basketball and football beat writer, Sam Baisden.
What up, what up?
Back after a lofty hiatus, he excites us. It's like a Brady bomb almost, only in podcast form. He is our 6-star red chipper, Dalton Pence.
What's going on, y'all?
What's going on, man? Dalton sounds like he just went through puberty again. I love it. It's what's going on, baby? How y'all doing? Our newest addition to the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, and my co-host for Live at 55, Wes Keys.
What's going on, everybody?
And last but certainly not least, by any measurable amount on earth, it is the notorious Higgy.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, that was weird. Listen, no Sean here today. Oddly enough, he watched a documentary on Hulu called Gypsy Rose, and he got some new ideas on how to date. So, fingers crossed for him, I guess. I don't know.
He should have been out last night. That's what.
It should have been, but look. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to point to. I don't know what the heck y'all are talking about. But yeah.
We saw each other out and about last night.
Oh, okay. Look, CSZ representing together. What's up, Jamie? Look, we got a really good show for y'all today. Again, name of the episode: Pitt hits the fan and E1C4. And we'll explain what the E1C4 means here in a second. Again, no Sean here today. Joey's feeling under the weather. Hope he feels better soon. Don't forget the Four Pegs chat line is open. If you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or however, send us your questions on social. They'll appear right here in this chat thing for us, and we'll get to them as soon as we have a break to get to them. See everybody in here. Appreciate everybody in here today. Check the graphic below Wes on how you can, below Higgy. It's inverted over here. Below Higgy on how you can follow the podcast or the website on all the social media avenues. And not Higgy's titty, as you pointed to. It's underneath that. I still don't know what you're doing. This is a PG show. And underneath Wes, you can see how you can support the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast monetarily. We are it's sponsorship season. It's January. I was out last January. We are in full effect looking for new sponsors for the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast. We appreciate the current ones, but we're out here trying to make it so we can bring more of these to you, more content, have a good time. And look, it is what it is. We even added the new subscription tiers to our YouTube channel, and we've got some subscribers to that. We appreciate y'all's support, and we will be giving you all first preference as far as comments are concerned. When we see the names up here, I will go ahead and call y'all out first. It's our guy. Our Robert Holt. He's in the building. He's one of our tiered subscribers. We appreciate that. And Jana's also a tiered subscriber. So we'll get to y'all's comments in a little bit. Just got to get the show set up so we can hit this out of the park like normal. Hit that thumbs up while you're in here on YouTube, and make sure you're watching on YouTube if you can. It helps us out a little bit more than if you watch on Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or MySpace or however you watch it. Just watch it on YouTube if you can. Also, we've got Cardinal Sports Zone's got a Cameo account. I was approached to do a Cameo account for the podcast because, listen, it is what it is. We've got a lot of great. There's me, and we also have a lot of great personalities. Dalton's a great personality for the podcast. Higgy's, people love Higgy. I don't get it, but they love. I'm kidding, but they love his character. They think he's playing, but he's not really playing. But they love him. They love Sean's innocence. They like Sam's accent. And Wes, you've not been around. Even though Wes's name, this is how good I am. I put his name in our intro song to make sure he was included. Well, it was a different Wes, but that's neither here nor there. Listen,
It's convenient. It works.
listen. If you want to get in on the Cameo craze, you go to it's Jeremy _CSZ on Cameo. You hit us up. You pay for the Cameo. You let us know which one of the personalities you want to talk to, and that person gets that money. They'll get that cut of the money, and you can be helping us all out with some part-time hustles that are legal. Listen, we love and appreciate all the support, no matter how you plan to do that. All right, guys, let's get into it. I'm going to catch up on the chat line real quick. Patty in here. Appreciate you, Patty. Appreciate you, Brian. Tony Viscardi, the artiste, the one that created my CSZ metal. Wes, you ain't seen it. Everybody else saw the little metal artwork I have downstairs. The CSZ. I may have put it on social before, but amazing artist. Ed Winowski in the building. Appreciate y'all. Let's get the chat line. Tom Jeffries. We'll throw him on there at the bottom. What's happening, everybody? Cashmere, what's up, family? Listen, this is easy. Brandon says, Brahms working fools. Corey with the Go Cards. Rob, already read that one, but we'll read it again. Let's go. JB killing it. Let's go. That guy Mason, loyal listener and relative of Sean. Sorry about that in the building. He says, yeah. Cody Bishop.
Wait, hold on. That's Mason?
Yeah. That's Mason. Yeah.
Oh.
That's him. Dude, he's already taller than Sean. He's got a better mustache than Sean, and he's already held a girl's hand. So he's way ahead of Sean. Cody says, what up? Fabian says, what's up, guys? Brandon says Kenny Payne lost those games. Gosh dang it. Fabian says, we can't go through the season same as last year. Surely, can we? Not watching 28 losses again. Robert, sorry, I didn't see that you had already posted this. We are adding O-line. We are losing O-line. Have we gotten better or stayed about the same? We'll address that here in a few minutes because Dalton and Sam are going to come to you with some breakdowns of the new people that we've added this week. Very excited to hear a little bit more about that. Cashmere, we're going to address that as well. So with the loss of JJ and Lord forbid anything happens with Brandon, who would we then turn to as our bigs? Zan Payne. Oh, same thing Brandon said. Sorry. Lee Newton. High Cards from Orlando, our loyal listener from Orlando and watcher. And then Cashmere says, I believe Curtis should be starting, gets it going. He's a scorer. Curtis definitely is one of the best of what we have left there on the chat. What's up, Glenn, Jeremy, Charles, Tilly in the building. We appreciate y'all. All right, let's get to it. Men's basketball injury report. So first off, we do want to send out our love and support to the men's basketball players, JJ Traynor and Dennis Evans. I'm not going to get into the Dennis part. I mean, the people here on the show know what's going on with Dennis. It's not public knowledge, and we won't be the ones to put that out. If somebody else wants to be sensationalist and do that, that's their prerogative. It's their problem. It's their issue. We won't do that. But we are definitely E1C4 around here. Evans first, Cardinal forever. JJ was actually about to be cleared to return when he re-injured his shoulder during practice Friday. They thought there was a small chance he'd play yesterday, but they were definitely I was told that he would definitely play this week. I think we play Miami on Wednesday. Is that who we play next? Yeah. Okay. So he was definitely going to come back for Miami, re-injured it. A cluster fudge of a season injury and departure-wise. Carries on. Hopefully Manny and Trey are on the mend and we'll be back soon. Cardinals with a couple of really bad losses this week again. Lost to a Virginia team by 24 that went out and lost horribly yesterday to NC State, I believe. And then dropped one to Pitt that it felt like, I don't know how we only lost by 13. It felt like we were down by way, way more. So I had a conversation. And, of course, you all know Nolan Smith's one of my really, really good friends. We're family. He calls me brother. I call him brother. I call his sister my sister. She calls me brother. So I have to watch out for what I say. Just a disclaimer. I have to be very careful about what I say for multiple reasons. A, if I say something that he did not tell me and you all take it, because that's the way it is on social media these days. I say something that somebody told me, you all go out and tell people I said it, and then I get in trouble for it. So I'm not trying to say, I try not to reveal any intimate thoughts that we share as far as the program's concerned, because I don't want to get him in trouble. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So I won't be, for the rest of the season, I won't really be commenting on a lot of stuff basketball-wise. We'll talk about it. I'll be fair. I'll be very general, though, because, again, I don't want him to get any heat. I don't want by the way, before I forget, happy birthday to Lamar Jackson and happy birthday to Reece Gaines, two of the best to ever do it around here. I knew I was going to forget that if I didn't say it real quick. So I'm going to be impartial, but the good thing about that is that Sam don't have to be impartial. Dalton don't have to be impartial. Wes don't have to be impartial. And Higgy can just sit there and look at whatever he's looking at now instead of the computer camera. I still ask for respect for my friends, but I don't want this to be the type of show where people are like, we don't want to, like, I want it to be fair. I don't want people to do like yesterday. Oh, JJ and Dennis are faking injuries so they don't have to be a part of this. Bullcrap. Listen, guys, I'm not going to tell anybody how to fan. I'm going to open this up to you all in a second. Y'all know I got to get my opening dialogue in real quick. But we can support a bad team. Does it mean that we want the team to continue to be bad? No. Does the team want to be bad? No. Are they being taught correctly? No. So that's the loudest thing I'll say about that without getting into any specifics. But like nobody up there, even KP, as clueless as he seems at times, his press conference, his Pittsburgh presser, easy for me to say. His pregame presser for the Pittsburgh game was probably the worst presser he's had so far. The first three questions that were asked to him had nothing to do with Dennis's health, but his answer to all three were, well, out of respect for Dennis and his health, I'm not going to answer that question. One of the questions was, so how's the team dealing with the severity of Dennis? Now, the team's known about, so I've been dancing around this for about a month now. I've been telling y'all there's more stuff going on that y'all don't know about. It's serious. It was the Dennis Evans career-ending injury. Y'all know that. The listeners and viewers may not know that, but that's what it's been. Hey, Shanna. Hey, Taylor. What's good? So these players have known. Could that be a reason why they've looked, clueless at times? I don't know. How are they handling this right now? I don't really know, because for me, when I talk to Nolan and when I talk to Reese and when I talk to KP, I try to gauge. I don't want information so I can get on here and tell y'all and charge y'all fees. I've never been about that. I know it looks like we are now, but look, I've been out of work for a year. Your boy's just trying to make a little cash to get him back on his feet, and then we'll go back to being free and stuff. But it is what it is. But I try to relay information to you all that's general, so I don't get anybody in trouble. But I can tell you this: none of these guys want this to be happening right now. KP's not happy. He's up there losing and he's gonna be the Steve Cragthorpe of Louisville basketball. He's not happy about that. The players aren't happy because they didn't come here. They didn't buy into the pitch to come here and be 5-72. Like, that wasn't it. That wasn't the deal. You think Nolan moved his family from North Carolina to Louisville to coach so he could be embarrassed like this? No, absolutely not. And I can assure you, Nolan's still doing everything he's supposed to do. There's other issues, again, without getting into it, because the last thing I want is for there to be a post on a message board. Oh, sorry. Y'all know how I feel about those. Jeremy Wallman saying, Nolan said, no, I didn't say none of that. What I'm saying is that from other sources that I've talked to, KP's not taking criticism from anybody. He's not listening to nobody. To be fair, Nolan's never told me that. So even if it's happening, he is being loyal AF to Kenny. But I talked to one of the support staff up there a lot. I talked to one of the production people for the games. I talked to one of the members of the athletic department a lot. And they have all told me that nobody wants to Kenny won't listen to anybody. So they've given up on him. They're not buying into Kenny Payne anymore. And then you got the players who are visually telling you on the court, we don't want him here anymore. We don't like Danny Manning. No, I mean, so some site put out something yesterday about Sky blowing past Danny and not listening to him like it was new news. Look, none of those players have stopped for Danny instruction anytime this season. I've seen it in person. It's alarming, and it's not even the play. It's just the coach himself. Like, I don't know, man. I'm frustrated with it. I know everybody else is frustrated with it. I want you all to sound off as well. Let me get caught up on the chat line, and then Dalton, I'm gonna turn this over to you first. Bball, Jay, we're gonna have to get you on the show. We're gonna have a lot of slow times coming up with these 20-point beatdowns, the last 20 games of the season. So we'll have some more. We'll try to be a little bit more interactive. We'll bring on viewers, and Jay Bell's actually he's trying to do a little something in the business. So I'd like to have his insight on. I've always been a big fan of him since day one on Twitter. So I'd like to hear what he has to say. Speaking of that, Jay Bell says, I think the main issue is that even before the injuries with the talent upgrade, it looks like the same team as last year. I agree. Going to be hard to advocate for a year 3. Michana says, hello, guys. Cashmere says we have a tough road schedule in football next year, and Brom is doing the dang thing, stacking and getting quality players. Justin McCord, what's good? Brandon says, I had to rewind. They're not being taught right. You won't run with it. Just stood out, bro. Well, I mean, if they were being taught right, do you think we'd be getting dog walked every game? If they were getting taught right, do y'all remember the play of the game that stands out in my mind was when that 8-foot dude ran from the top of the key and dunked, and everybody just moved out of the way. If they're being taught right, somebody would have took a charge, attempted a charge. Now that's easier to say because you don't want to be on Sports Center, right? Like that probably what was on their head. They're like, I'm not ready. Like they were probably like, I don't know. But if they're being taught right, it is what it is. Chad Brocky, hello everybody. Was watching my lines. Appreciate you tuning in. Look, Steelers played yesterday. That's the main reason why I decided to start today instead of next Sunday. D. Wall says, what's good, y'all? Fabian says players need to dig in and show some pride. I agree, but when you get on social media every day and the loudest people are the negative people, there's only about, I counted one day, it's only about 200 different accounts. 200, that's a lot of accounts. Well, yeah, it's a lot of accounts when a player only follows 400. There are 1 million people that live in this city. 200 accounts isn't the end-all, be-all. I have talked to real-life people who, and I'm not trying to say what's going on is okay, but I have talked to more people. Out of 10 people, 8 out of 10 people I talked to are like, man, Kenny was put in such a bad situation. Hope he gets the chance to make it through it. Like rational people. Nobody thinks this is a good thing. Nobody wants this to happen. But there's more. But the problem is those rational people ain't going to speak up online because of the online bullying and the true mafia. It ain't the people who are support. I'm going to support whoever our coach is until he's not our coach anymore. Like I said last week, or it might have been on Live at 55 the other night. I sat here for weeks and Sam was frustrated with me. Dalton was frustrated with me. Man, Scott Satterfield just needs a little more time. He just needs to get his players in, his system in. Well, that's why I'm the host of the show. I've got to say those things. I want the access. I don't want them to take the access away. But the second I went from his biggest cheerleader that Friday to when it was announced that on Sunday I was his biggest cheerleader, and then that stuff happened overnight. On Monday it was announced about him leaving and Brom coming, and the next Sunday I was like, man, I'm so glad he left. I hated that mother sucker. It was just so bad. Antron says, is Dalton alive or is that a wax figure? Antron Mazda in the building. Jay Bell says, big white boy tomahawked on everybody, and the ghost of LeBradford Smith, Keith Williams, Brian Kaiser, and Bozak Smith. And some of those guys are still alive, so that's saying something. Brandon Johnson says, my girl saw the exact same play and was like, somebody do something. It's like that meme where you see the guy, the kid with the stick poking the dude on the ground. It's like, come on, do something. That's where I was too. Rito in the building. The turnovers were so timely. Every time that happened, just momentum killers. And Corey, we'll get to your question too. At this point, I'd rather have Nolan. Let's see. I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't disagree with that, but apparently there's some things going on as far as leadership is concerned. We'll cover that on another episode when we can. Even with the Carter Knox commitment, there should be no. I'm telling you right now, if Carter Knox commits to the University of Louisville, KP gets the rest of this year in a third year. I'm telling. And that's information that I was given by 4 people, and none of them were on the. None of them were Nolan, KP, or Reeves. And I know y'all are like, well, that's easy for you to say that it wasn't them. We don't know who it was. Well, you have to trust me. I ain't never lied to y'all before. It is what it is. That if he commits to Louisville, it's a wrap. Y'all can stop talking about we pick Mick or we let's bang for Tang or whatever these little nifty things are that y'all come up with. Those can stop. They can stop. Brandon says, if we were 500, I could bite my tongue on him, not listening to people around the program, but we stink. Yeah, there's no, even the few. Now, see, I don't want to say anything about the practices I've been to because then he could be like, yeah, Jeremy, you can't come no more. It's not a talent issue, period. It's easy to forget that we have a top 5 recruiting class on the floor. It's also easy to forget that you say that, but Trent Flowers made that a top 5 class. Dennis Evans made that a top 5 class. Trey made that a top 5 class. Those guys have missed almost all of the year. I mean, I know it's easy to say, well, Trey's been there almost the whole year. But, yeah, we're like 12 games. We're like a fourth of the way through the season, and he's missing a whole lot. What's the point of getting a 5-star commitment if you can't be properly coached? Great point, Rito. Jeff left. What's up? We'll get back. Let's throw that one on the screen because I do want to talk about that again here in a second. J-Bell says, like, take a hard foul or something. Look, I never in my life ever got dunked on in a game of basketball. I undercut Derek Anderson one time in high school when we were playing pickup ball. I almost got jumped because but I was not going to get dunked on. You would not dunk on me. And maybe that would have started a fight. Maybe our team needs to show some fight. I know the real old school Louisville fans would be like, heck yeah, punch somebody. Because it's just like, and is Carter that good, says Fabian. Okay. So, again, let's go in order. Antron says KP teams had the worst defensive rotations I've ever seen. Maybe it's because they don't really listen to him on defense. Fabian, is Carter that good? Carter Knox, to me, could go either way. He could either be the next Zion Williamson or he could be the next Anton Gill. He's right there on the precipice, on the cusp, if you will. I'm using all these big words today. I don't know why. Maybe just show off in front of Megan and Higgy. Hey, Higgy, spell precipice. Okay, yeah, I figured. But what's the point in getting a 5-star commitment if they can't be properly coached? Well, here's the thing, Rito. We all thought well, I won't say we. The narrative was we get Kenny, we get Rock Nation, we get Magic Johnson, we get Junior Bridgman, we got all this money, we'll get anybody we want. Yeah. We'll get 5 stars everywhere, and the coaching can be masked for a few years while you learn how to head coach. And I was okay with that. Fine. None of those people, not one of them, except for Junior, because Junior's the one that footed the bill for. So for those of y'all that don't know, Kenny's got his own collective. Junior and Wade and the basketball guys, personal collective to just Kenny. 502 Circle don't really have to help them out a lot. They do some of those Louisville live streams that funnel some extra money to the kids. That I'm your host of, by the way. We'll have some more coming up in 2024. Shameless plug. But Ken's got his own collective that was responsible for Sky Clark, for Dennis, for Trenton, for Karan and D'Lo, which apparently really I think all you needed to do is hand him a Rally's coupon to get those 2. But Brandon, I've never heard that, honestly, that he was supposed to be a developer. I heard that Danny Manning was a big man developer. KP's just from what I know and from what I've heard, he was just a relationships guy. And that's the most shocking thing to me is that he supposedly had all these relationships and none of them came to bat for him. Dusty wants IU. Dusty May is the play. Stop doing that, Fabian.
I was about to say something about that, like, no, Don't.
All right, Chad Brocky. My brother heard from someone who's been right on more than one occasion. He said Junior met with KP and some members of the athletic department and asked them how much. That's not true. Junior talks directly to KP. So they may not be right or wrong all the time, but they was wrong with that one. Actually, the meeting that was had was, hey, Junior, we're going to go ahead and fire KP. Are you okay with that? And he said no. Sounds like we have a Hoosiers situation. Yeah, maybe. BHH does look good. I'll give him that. Well, he didn't look good yesterday. You can have Dusty. What's the chance, honestly, that Knox comes here? Okay. And again, I want to get caught up on this so we can hear from everybody else. But I think it's a really good chance. Again, I've been told it's already a done deal, and that if you all see the Carter Knox commitment story on CardinalSportsZone.com, that means KP was guaranteed a third year. So it was closer while he was learning. Folks could probably hang on, but it looks bad. It does look bad. And it doesn't help to get on social media, Jay, every day and see everybody, not only everybody crapping on the players, but the players, Carito. Yeah. But the players having to respond, Sky having to respond, JJ having to respond. Thank God Dennis doesn't have a Twitter anymore, or he probably would have had to respond. But Dalton, we'll go ahead and go to you with your thoughts. What is and again, we're not going to spend too much time on basketball because we have a lot of stuff to talk about recruiting wise. And what we'll probably go to next, we'll let Sam give us a little update on women's basketball after we finish up men's basketball. But what is your take on the whole situation? I mean, is the rest of the season like how does it? Okay. If us Louisville fans want to be sane, how do we watch the rest of the season knowing that either a change is going to be made or a change is not going to be made?
Well, I think there's probably no way if you don't know. I mean, you know as well as I do. My whole take on it is I kind of chalked year one up for whatever it was. I was more interested in year two. I saw both sides of the table, but I was adamant that, you know what, I'm gonna wait for year two. I'm gonna see, with the cloud gone, with the obstacles out of the way, what's gonna happen. And I personally advocated for more experience over youth, and I was pretty vocal about that. And I, at the end of the day, I said, you know what? I mean, he's getting paid the money to bring his guys in, and hopefully they succeed. But let's be completely honest here. You know, there are no excuses. These are his guys that he brought in. I know the situation with Dennis is heartbreaking. I'm kind of throwing that out of the equation here because that's something that no one can foresee. But the Trenton Flowers thing, it sucks, but that's a guy you went out and you got. You went out and got these freshmen. You went out and got Karan. You went out and got Danila Jovanovic. And I wanted to see the improvement. I wanted to see the team play better. And the same issues we saw in 2022-23 are the same issues we're seeing in 23-24. So at the moment, barring something cataclysmically changing, I don't see something changing in the point to where we're going to see things that are going to make people feel comfortable about the future. The Carter Knox thing, I think Carter's a pretty solid player. I think he has one of the most advanced offensive skill sets in the 2024 class. Is he an Anthony Davis type prospect? No. So does it make sense that, you know, what you said before in the show hasn't really been relating to the players in terms of getting them better X's and O's wise? They've sort of checked out on the coaching staff. At what point, why does one commitment guarantee a third year when absolutely nothing on the court has changed? And you say, well, we won one more game. We had a very, very bad out of conference slate. And when we're sitting here still on January 7th and we're discussing whether or not we're going to see more effort or not, that's kind of where I draw the line. I've been, to be honest with you, I've sort of been apathetic about the whole thing. I've cheered the team on and I've wanted us to win, but losing doesn't really hurt me anymore. And that's such a sad thing to suggest. But to answer your question, sorry for rambling, but
No, you're fine. We wanted to hear. We wanted to hear from you for months now. So thanks for joining.
I've kind of sat back in the shadows and sort of assessed this from a whole season long thing. And I understand, you say give him more time, but what are we giving him more time to do if we're going through the same issues? What truly, and you all can answer this, what is a year 3? What's going to change? I mean, maybe some people on the bench, but at that point, if you have to rely on a good X's and O's guy to come in, I mean, are we on the right track here? I mean, I just, my thoughts.
Absolutely. And let me point a couple things out. Chad, it wasn't Pearl. I know exactly who it was. We talked about it right before the show started. Again, that's stuff that you all can, if you subscribe to the tiered layer of YouTube, you can see some of our pre-show stuff. It's pretty cool. Let's see. You can't win. Okay, so let me ask a different question. So if I told you all, and again, a lot of people bringing up the youth we brought in via the transfer portal instead of getting an experienced player. Everybody up there but KP wanted experienced players. But KP went with Danilo and Karan, first off. Again, that's not anything that Nolan's told me or anything Reese has told me. That's stuff that I've been told by people that are close to people up there. I've already really kind of revealed who my sources are without revealing who they are. B1 Family says he's a KP supporter because he played here, but he got to go. Chad says, yeah, I'll check that out. I'm subscribed. Agree 100%. Yeah, we have. So if you go to really quick, if you go to our YouTube page, it'll say subscribe. And then to the right of it, it'll say join. If you hit the join button, it'll give you all the layers of, even gives you a cheaper way to get that cameo I told y'all about earlier. If you subscribe to the red and black level, I believe it is, you get unlimited video DMs from the Cardinal Sports Zone crew. So we won't just charge you one time. It'll be once a month, but it is what it is. So let me pose this scenario. I know we were going to go a different way, but we'll go this way. And Sam, I'm still interested in what you have to say about the women's basketball team. So I'm not going to cut that off. But what if I told you next year KP's getting the third year. So everybody in this scenario, I'm not saying it's happening, but he's getting a third year. Carter Knox commits. We get 4 out of the top 10 transfer guys. The bench coaches are Nolan Smith, Yasir Redmond from IU, and Rick Stansberry. Does that change anybody's mind on giving KP, knowing that KP's got an old head on the bench to do the X's and O's, and you've got 2 ace recruiters instead of just 1? Sam, does that change your mind on a year 3 for KP? Are you willing to give? Because I know that I've been pro Kenny the whole time. That's my guy. I'm going to be pro Kenny. I've also been somewhat fair in criticism. Now, I don't go out there and criticism myself, but when I talk to y'all privately and when I talk to Steve privately and other people, I'm very open and honest about how I feel like things have been going. And they've not been going good. But if that were the lineup for next season, after everything Kenny's had to go through, because like even Dalton mentioned, that first year was a wash to everybody because he had to take his broom out and his mop and clean up the mess of regimes past. He had to sweep up a little for Chris Mack. He had to sweep up a little bit for Rick Pitino. He had to sweep up a little bit for Katina Powell. He had to sweep up a little bit for Brian Bowen and Adidas. So I think everybody was willing to give him that first year. So this really being his first year, would you be okay with the year 3 if that was the lineup? If you had Nolan and Yasir out there just attacking people with the collective, you had Stansberry there on the sidelines, one of the best X's and O's guys in the country. Is that enough to change your mind to give him a third year?
No.
No?
And I'd say it because even with the good to great coaching staff, you have to be a leader and a general, and you're kind of like a CEO. And he hasn't showed the ability to be that type of person so far at Louisville. And even if you do get a Carter Knox, then to me, it seems like you're going to build your offense around a player, which is fine. But as of right now, he hasn't shown the ability to build an offense around a player. We have seen instances where Mike James has had a good game, but then the team couldn't find him. Brandon Hadley Hatfield started off good, but for whatever reason, he wasn't able to keep feeding him. So when you get a good player, an offensive player like Cardinal is, you're gonna have to build your offense around someone like that. And he hasn't shown the ability to be able to build an offense around one or two players, because if you look at his offense is more of a free flowing. He wants it to be more of a free flowing read and react. That is fine at the NBA level. That is fine when you have a bunch of 4 and 5 star players. You don't have that right now. So you have to be able to adjust to the talent that you have. I get it. Most of the great coaches like Don Staley, well, sorry, no. Most of the great coaches like let's go with Gino Auriemma. He has a system. He is hell bent on his system, and he gets the players to fit his system. He might tinker it here or there depending on the players. Now let's go. So great coaches are stubborn in their way, but on the other hand, you also have great coaches like Jeff Walz, who adapts year by year based on the talent and the players that he have and the scheme. So he schemes up things differently based on his players. And I don't think Coach Kenny Payne can do either one of those things. He's stubborn, but his system right now isn't working for the players that he has. So no, I don't think yet even with great assistant coaches and great talent, I don't think he has the ability to build an offense that will suit his players.
All right, and really quick, because I know that Sam, you got somewhere to go here pretty soon, and I want to go ahead and make sure we tackle every aspect. So Wes and Higgy, just be patient with me for a second. Let's switch gears for a second. Women's basketball had a very interesting year so far. For some reason, they lost that first game in the tournament, in that in-season tournament, and it has been so hard for them to gain respect. I remember that they went undefeated 2 weeks in a row and dropped 5 overall spots, and it was just probably more than that. I'll have to be honest with you. I've not been keeping up with a whole lot of anything these last couple of weeks because of personal stuff in the holidays. But for those of our fans out there that depend on us to give them that news, can you give us some progress updates, record ranking, who they played last week, what's new on the recruiting side, just an overlook of the women's basketball program at this point of the season?
So they just played Duke. They won 44-61. It was the program's 1,000 win, which is huge. Seeing that I don't think Louisville women's basketball was along, I think about 20, 25 years now, somewhere along those lines. No, sorry.
So you think that Louisville basketball has only been around since 1998? Women's basketball since 98.
I think it's been like 50 years. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said 20.
I don't either. It's Higgy math.
Yeah. But so yeah, they one of the things why I feel like they've been dropping in the rankings is because they're inconsistent.
But a lot of teams are inconsistent though.
On both ends of the floor. And even when they were inconsistent in years prior, they had that one star that everyone knew. This year's team offensively, you have 4 or 5 different players that can get you 20 points a night.
True.
So and a lot of them, and 4 of them are new, transfers. What are you doing, Higgy? So I think until they
hold on really quick, Sam. Hold on for a second. Higgy, can you move the glass this way just a little bit? No, the other way. A little more. Perfect. Go ahead, Sam.
I think until you start to see them develop an identity, whether it's offensive or defense, it'd probably be more defensively because this is Coach Walz we're talking about. They will start to get that respect like a Mississippi State or like an Ole Miss, who are really, really great defensive teams. So I think that's part of the reason why they have been dropping in the rankings ever since they lost earlier. I think I can't even remember who they lost to, but I know they ended up beating Ole Miss already.
It was a horrible team, and we somehow I still don't understand how we lost that game before the championship game and still ended up winning the championship of that tournament. It was such a weird.
I think it was round robin. I think so.
Alabama.
Yeah,
was it Alabama? Yeah.
They're currently 13-3 for reference.
Okay.
So
I thought it was for some reason I thought it was like Marist or something.
No.
Okay.
But they do play Pittsburgh this week. I think on Thursday. They're on the road at Pittsburgh. So, but the good thing about this is now that the ACC tournament, ACC conference has gotten started, and they've already had that winter break. You can see they started to develop that identity, that defensive identity that Coach Walz has wanted. They played great defense for about 35 minutes against Duke. Albeit the game was out of hand pretty early in the fourth quarter, but you could see the defensive potential that this women's basketball team has. So I think as the season goes on from here on, you'll see Louisville team become a more defensive minded team because they do have players like a Sydney Taylor, Jada Curry, Kiki Jefferson, and even Olivia Cochran that can give you 20 a night. So with this team, it all depends on who has the hot hand. And there's a really good team that loves to share the ball a lot, and they play for each other. I wish there was someone more selfish that could start to take over, but hey, it is what it is, and I think they'll do fine.
All right, and that is our women's basketball and football beat writer, Sam Baisden, with some updates for us on the women's basketball season. We appreciate that, Sam. Really quick, I want to say shout out to some people that have joined us just within the last 10 minutes. Ernie in the building, Rob Pennebaker, our guy, Lady J's Lemonade. Appreciate your support, brother. Caitlin in the building, Brady in the building, not Brady Brom. I wish it was. Kevin and Nick, and we're going to get to the chat line in a second. Then we're going to go over the recruiting thing. So Sam can, whatever girl stayed the night with him, he can get her out of the room. And I'm just kidding. I'm playing. Sam's like, you're going to get me in trouble. I'm playing. Listen, horrible joke. I apologize. Sam's looking at me like I just executed him. Chat line really quickly. Paul says, I know we won't get a coach until April, but I think something has to change now. I don't see a big benefit of changing anything right now. Here's my worry. They fire KP. They don't give Nolan the reins. The whole team quits. We don't field a basketball team the rest of the year. That's my thought process. Dad fits E1C4. Turnover after turnover yesterday, and the only thing Danny Manning is talking to Sky about is blood on his jersey. Carrito says a change now at head coach wouldn't change anything. We might as well wait it out for real. I agree. Quentin, what's up? Agreed. Nope, I don't want to get yelled at, but year 3, can you imagine the ticket sales? Says Steven, here's the thing. The tickets for this year, people keep talking about, oh, we're losing so much money. Our season tickets were paid for before the season. Like the seats may be empty, but the funds were not for those seats. So I would be concerned about year 3, though. I do get that. Chad says it really depends on if KP would start listening to those other guys. In my opinion, he hasn't started a year and a half the way through. Why would he start now? John said he's for a year 3 as long as KP would listen, willing to change and take help. Quentin says getting paid $7 million in 2 years to sweep up while not winning games is an even trade. No, I don't think anybody thinks it's an even trade. John V says, I love KP, but I'm not sure we take another year. Okay. Paul Thomas, Knox or no Knox, I don't think it matters if we have number 1 class. He doesn't seem to be able to motivate. Who do we lose? Higgy? Okay, good.
Yeah.
He don't seem to be able to motivate these kids. Oh, he's back. Damn it. All right. Glad we got you back, Higgy. Laura says facts. Rito says KP would really have to open up his mind. I agree. Seems a little bit too late. This team has the talent to win. See, Paul, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that this is a Louisville basketball team full of Louisville basketball players. I think we got 5 or 6 Louisville basketball players, and we got 5 or 6 guys that apparently KP just decide. I mean, I would do together. Well, the Danilo thing, and I think I can say this without getting anybody in trouble. I was at lunch with a certain somebody and Steve Rummage, and the Mackenzie Mabako ordeal happened to where Indiana came in and offered him $1 million to cancel his trip to Louisville and commit to them on the spot. $1 million bonus. So he took it. Well, I'm sitting at lunch with said redacted, and the Danilo news comes across Twitter, and I look at my phone and I pointed and I said, who the freak is this? And he's like, I've never heard of them in my entire life. Well, if you know who I'm talking about without me saying it, then that should speak volumes to you. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I'm not going to get anybody in trouble and tell you, but it is what it is. This is not a Louisville talent team, though. Mike James, he's a Louisville player. Sky Clark, Louisville player. Trey White has the potential. No, he has the potential, but he's not played up to any of our expectations so far. JJ, Louisville player. Brandon Huntley Hatfield, physically, Louisville player. Mentally, not a Louisville player. Let's see. Thing is, KP doesn't think his staff did anything wrong last year. Said they did everything right, didn't make a change. Yeah, I see that. The team we have now is talented enough to win 15 to 18 games. The coaching staff isn't getting it. Yeah, I agree. If KP chose Karan and D'Lo over 3 or 4 transfers, that's enough for me. And that absolutely did happen. Actually, one of the guys is in the running for A10 Player of the Year right now. If KP, read that one. KP doesn't do a good job of holding players accountable. He don't really hold himself to accountable. After he answered the 3 consecutive, out of respect for Dennis, we're not going to talk about that. It had nothing to do with Dennis. The next question was how do you plan on attacking Pitt? They shoot a lot of 3-point shots. His answer was, don't let them shoot a bunch of 3-point shots. Well, that's the dumbest I've ever heard in my entire life. And then you went out and let them hit a bunch of 3. So it is what it is. B1 family hit the nail right on the head. He's trying to run a NBA system with college players. These players aren't. That's why I don't necessarily blame Kenny 100%. I mean, I do blame him a lot, but he absolutely is trying to run an NBA system with guys that they're not all good enough.
Kind of Ross McMahon's all over again.
Yeah, you could argue with me for a year 3 if you said Kenny was bringing in NBA players into our program next year, and they immediately clicked, and we were able to see that there was some sort of translation from him. But I do believe that wholeheartedly. He is trying to run an NBA system with college level, with average college players. Bball, I think his X's and O's are fine. He drew up a play to win the game against Bellarmine. Dude just short-armed it. He was wide open. The women are looking good. Okay, Higgy needs to move his turvis a little to the left. I can still see him. That was John Lindeman. We're way behind on the chat. They're still talking about when's the Kenny Payne show? It's tomorrow night. Hey, Paul says, hey, Jeremy and crew. I would love to see KP promote Nolan, give him a bigger voice. We all would like that, but that's not going to happen. You put the future in the hands of one recruit. I'll take floor seats off someone's hand if they don't want to go. Kevin is ready to support the team no matter what. Bell agrees. Firing him right now wouldn't do anything. Fabian, I didn't think he had a big ego, but everything I'm hearing screams ego. Enough ready. Get to Scott Drew. Okay, I don't think that's going to be the guy, Jeff, but I appreciate it. Trey White is a loafer. Okay. Your hair looks fine, DSP, like John Lindeman. Kevin Watson, the silky smooth voice of Dalton Pitts, which, by the way, I've already had 3 people DM me and say, that Dalton guy's good. Is he new? No, he's not new. He's just not been on our Friday shows for a while. He's been taking care of business, and we appreciate it. Appreciate him joining it. That's what I was trying to say yesterday, Wes. You be wilding on the mic. Stop ordering DoorDash, Higgy, says John Lindeman. Jeff Ramsey says, how's a Denny Crum player as a coach run a Cal offense knowing what he learned from Crum? Fabian, Mark Lieberman can cross his fingers in any corner. He's not going to be he's not going to be an interim. He's not even going to be custodial engineer. He's not going to be up there. He is what it is. Babu says, after the Quran blunder, I can see why fans are hesitant on injuries. With that being said, get well, JJ and Big D for sure. All right, let's move into the last part of the show, which is what we want Sam to talk about before he gets out of here. Brady Bombs over Baghdad all weekend. I've been ducking all weekend, last 3 days. Penny Boone, running back from Toledo. Geronte Davis, linebacker, Texas A&M. Rasheed Miller, offensive lineman from Georgia Southern. It's not Dash, auto-corrected. Dave McCullough, DB from Oklahoma. Ruben Anije from Houston, offensive lineman. And last but not least, and the easiest name to say, Antonio Meeks, wide receiver from, I think, Division III, Tuskegee. I don't know if it's D3 or D2. Is it 2? D2 Tuskegee. All seem like solid additions. I've watched some of them didn't have a lot of film. Like Day didn't have a lot of film. Penny had a lot of film. Meeks had a lot of film. Unije had a lot of film. And I know one guy, but we're not going to talk about him. I hope we don't recruit him because that'll get a lot of people in trouble. I shared him in the group chat, or Noah K. We're not going to talk about Noah K on the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did.
Sam, really quick before we let you go, tell us what we can expect from Dave McCullough and Jarente Davis. After you finish your your snack.
Wasn't expecting you to come to me so soon. But no, so
That's what she said.
So what?
What?
What you said?
She said. I didn't say it. That's what she said.
Oh. Okay.
It's a family show, Jeremy. Shut up. Okay.
All right. No, so first person is McCullough. So you get a 6'1", 6'2" safety. I think he's a 4-star coming out of school.
He was.
So I mean, one of the things I like about it, but I liked about the I want to say Killebrew as well. They had multiple years of eligibility left, but as we can see, Killebrew left after just 1 year. I think he has 4 years remaining. So what you're going to get is a physical safety who can both play the run, and he's really good at playing the pass as well. So in the defensive system that we run now, we've been told that Coach English kind of cross-trains his safeties, which is really good because now you can disguise things a whole lot better is what I'm trying to say. You can have him playing as a strong safety or a free safety, or you can have him come down in the guard position if you want to. So I really like to pick up because it adds a lot of versatility and not just depth to our defensive back room, especially with, I feel like we had a whole lot of transfers leaving in the defensive backfield. And the next player you mentioned was who?
Jarente Davis, linebacker. Texas
That's the
A&M.
linebacker. I think it's like one year remaining. Didn't he come from Middle Tennessee State before first?
He started
like
out Middle
fourth
Tennessee State, then went to
Texas
Jackson
A&M.
State.
He played at Jackson State as well, right?
Yeah.
That's the one that played at 4 schools.
Yeah.
This will be his fifth school. Went JUCO, Middle Tennessee State, Jackson State, A&M. All spent 1 year at each stop.
So he has 1 year left. I think personally it's probably a rotational piece. He'll probably be a spot player for Louisville because we do have Jalen Alderman. We still have Ben Perry and TJ Capers as well as TJ Quinn. So I do think this is just a depth piece that can play in spot roles that can thrive in Coach English defense.
Awesome. Really quickly, we had a question about the IU guy, IU athlete Jalen Lucas. Still really the only big fish that I know of that we're waiting on. We'll ask Dalton in a second. He's currently on a visit.
Committed to Florida State.
He did?
Yep. Oh,
Yes.
oh, shit. Oh, man.
All right. Well, currently on a visit to Florida State. A decision is expected within the next 24 hours is what my script says. Optics, not good. He's on a visit, going to decide. Probably not going to be us. So there you go. We didn't want him. Hold on. Let's go. Let's do the classic Kentucky line. Oh, we didn't want him anyway. He sucked. He sucked.
Hey, hold on. What are you doing, Higgy? Oh.
He's probably dancing for. Hey, by the way, Higgy has waited till 7 years after joining the website to crush it. We appreciate all your hard work, Higgy, on these breakdowns. We knew this is what we knew you had in you all along. We just now.
So you know what that means, right?
That means that's what we expect from you going forward.
No, that means there's still hope for Sean.
Oh Jesus!
We're
2024
Sean is still
turning over
here.
a new leaf. I'll say that.
Okay, but here's what we need to work on going forward. And everybody that's watching, just kind of hold your ears for a second. Not you, Higgy. We've got to teach you what a sentence is and what adjectives are and
A comma.
and kindergarten sentence structure. But I appreciate it. It didn't take me long to edit any of the stories and post them. Appreciate your hard work. That's not something I've got to say a whole lot to you. So we all of us, Dalton, Sam, myself. I mean, Wes doesn't write for us, but Sean, all of us appreciate you doing that work so we can do the things that we do well. So salute to you, Higgy. Dr. Pepper Zero raised in your honor. That's what you had to say?
No, I was going to say
Coasting with
before
water.
the end, I was just going to say thank you. So.
What? All right. The difference between us and from Bball, the difference between us and UK is that at any time they have 45 people on the floor that can hit a jump shot at any time. That's why their offense flows. Beard's being considered. Oof, I think he is. Wes Miller, I don't know who Wes Miller is. Chad says Rico knows says that we absolutely are crushing. And Fabian, what happened to the IU football kid? Well, he just committed somewhere else. So no, Antron, I don't think Doug McDermott is in the mix. $1 Jeremy. Oh yeah, I said the K word. His wife must have wrote all the stories. No, because if his wife would have wrote them or proofread them, I would have been able to decipher them. Salute Higgy, says Corrito. John V. Jeremy, it's wonderful to see you looking so healthy, brother. Answer the prayer. Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Sam, is this where you're leaving us for the day?
Yeah, I need to take care of something.
All right. Well, and apologize to whoever you keep looking at because I think I was trying to make a joke and I may have got you in trouble. It was just a joke.
Yeah.
I was lying. It is what it is. Love you, brother. We'll see you
All
next
right,
Sunday.
man.
Hopefully you don't get your butt beat too bad.
JV Bell.
All right, later.
The worst time for me to tell that kind of a joke because I've never told that kind of a joke before. And Sam's like this the whole time, like, he's lying, I swear.
He looked like
Right.
No, the look he gave me, I'll never forget. He's like, Jeremy, you.
like,
Well, all right, I'll catch up with y'all later.
All right. Later, buddy. All right, Dalton,
Yeah.
we're going to go to you really quickly, and then we'll go ahead and wrap the show up for today. We appreciate everybody spending your Sunday afternoons with us. Added a couple of offensive guys as well. Can you let us know a little bit about the offensive pieces to the puzzle that we added?
Yeah, I mean, it starts out with Baby Bus himself, Penny Boone, Isaac Garindo out, Penny Boone in, 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns for the reigning MAC Offensive Player of the Year. We'll have 1 year, I believe 1 year of eligibility. It's kind of weird when you have to factor in these COVID years. He might have 2, but with running back shelf life, you would assume that he probably 1. It's a solid addition. Number 3 running back in the portal, according to On3, who not a big fan of On3, but On3 has the best portal rankings. And I don't really think that is up for discussion, at least in my opinion. But top 10 in rushing yards, 6'1", 240 pounds that can reach 21 miles an hour. I mean, that's incredible to think about. So I think that it's going to be another by committee approach this year for the Cardinals, but I really like a backfield with him, Don Chaney Jr., Maurice Turner, and possibly some other players. Why do you got my
Do we really quick before you move on to the next one? I don't know what keeps happening. I think it's because I put these comments up here. We'll put it back down.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about that when you addressed him. Do we think that Penny committing, that's Mo Turner's gone or Brown's gone? One of those two. Do you think we lose one of those because of that commitment? I feel like it, but maybe I'm just over-sensitized because we never get a lot of stuff. It seems like the year of the Cardinal, we had paid back tenfold in negative stuff. So I have a little bit of PTSD when it comes to getting a good thing, meaning it's going to be a bad thing in return. So I kind of feel like we lose one of those two. Do you have the same feeling?
I mean, I think there'd be more of an opportunity for us to lose a guy like Keywan Brown. With not really an avenue. At least Maurice Turner is going to be factored into the offense at some point, especially receiving. But yeah, I mean, I could see either one of these guys entering the portal, unfortunately, and that's sort of the drawback to going to the portal to upgrade your team is that good news, you can upgrade your team. Bad news is you might lose a player you weren't expecting to because you went on and got a player like that. I haven't heard anything of imminent. Go ahead, Wes.
No, I was going to say about Keywan Brown, he did put a tweet out yesterday saying only time will tell. So we might lose Keywan Brown.
Yeah, I was about to mention that as well. Did that tweet get deleted?
I don't know.
I believe it did. Shout out real quick to Chris Morgan. We appreciate you, dude. He's been one of our supporters since day one. And if you happen to want to sponsor the podcast, this is time for you to jump back on board, buddy, because You know what I realized earlier? Today is the 7-year anniversary of the last airing of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast on 93.9 The Ville. It's already been 7 freaking years. I can't believe that. But Chris was one of the people that made that possible for us. And, just shoot me a message or something. Let's get back on that sponsor host link up again. I appreciate it. But go ahead, Dalton. My bad. I just wanted to acknowledge.
No, you're
I wanted to acknowledge him.
I think that it's regardless of what happens, even if one of those guys leaves, there's a lot to be excited about for this room because let me tell you, Isaac Brown, the 4-star commit that the Cardinals have in the 23 or 24 class, I should say, he's a stud, man. And I think by 2025, you're going to be talking about him as a possible starter in the room. So we'll see. Great addition, though. Penny Boone is a solid 1-year player with the potential to go 2 years like Garindo. Doubt it happens, but still an opportunity. So Carito mentions that the Kiwan tweet is still up. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice
I saw that.
Nice to hear about that. Shout out to my guy. Wide receiver wise, Antonio Meeks, pretty known that Louisville was going to at least get one more receiver. I still don't know if we're going to have a final group. I look to at least maybe one more guy to enter the portal, one of the younger guys, potentially maybe one of the former transfers. We'll see. I like the addition of Meeks because you're not really needing a starter at the moment. You've got Ja'Cory Brooks. You've got Colin Lacey. Meeks, I feel like, is a solid ceiling of a wide receiver 3, at the very least, a rotational guy. 6'2", has a ton of size and verticality. When you watch his film, he's electric with the stutter step, man. He can create that separation. The stop and go routes are absolutely filthy. Now, the main thing with a non-Power 5 transfer, you wonder how that skill set's going to translate over. Let's go ahead and get a negative perception out of the way. There are some guys in D2 in every sport out there that can 100% play at the D1 level. That is 100% a fact, and you hope that Meeks is fitting into that category, but I think he will come into the room with the best catch radius on the team, does an exceptional job of high pointing the football, something that we've sort of been lacking over the past 3-4 years maybe. Seth Dawkins, I feel like, was the last Cardinal receiver that really high pointed the football well, and I think that that's going to bode well for red zone opportunities. So 2 skilled guys.
How tall is he?
6'2".
Okay,
so
that's a nice size.
Same as Ja'Cory Brooks, same as Chris Bell, and this isn't a disrespectful thing towards them. It's just more of a, intuition based on how I think that Meek's skill set's going to translate. So 2 very good players. Obviously, Boone maybe RB1. I think Meeks, you're probably looking wide receiver 4 or 5, depending. But I mean, you need those guys. You need that depth. And I like this addition because of that, because it makes a ton of sense. So I like the 2 skill positions. The other commits were offensive linemen. As the old saying goes, you can never have too much help in the trenches. Cardinals lost 3 starters, 7 leading up to, I think, Friday when Josh Black entered the portal. I think we're at 8 now. We're kind of losing count, just goes to show you how many people we've lost. But I like these 2 additions. The first one we'll talk about is Ruben Unije from Houston. Community college, went to Houston, spent 4 years there, played both tackle spots, started 11 of 12 at right tackle this year, one of the best players in pass pro for Houston this past year. I always look at offer sheet as a way to sort of gauge the interest in a player. USC, Colorado, and South Carolina were all going hard after him, especially the first one in USC. And if that doesn't really tell you what you need to know, main thing is, how healthy is Ronaldo Brown going to be at the beginning of the season after suffering an ACL tear in October? So I like the addition there of Ruben Unije from Houston. 1 year, potentially 2 remaining. Same with Rasheed Miller from Georgia Southern. That's the final commit we'll talk about. Played under Richard Owens in 2022 with the Eagles when he was the offensive line and run game coordinator for Georgia Southern, now the offensive line coach for Louisville. So there's a familiarity there. Started a lot at right tackle this year, second team all conference. I look at him as a possible depth piece. And needless to say, Jeff Brom is utilizing the scholarships in the way that he did last offseason. So no, it's a lot to digest. But 4 pretty solid commitments that I think are all going to play at least some sort of respective role for the team next year.
Is there anybody else out there? We all know you're on top of the recruiting pulse for the program, and we appreciate you doing all the hard work that you do. Obviously, with Lucas being off the board now, are there any other people that you are And look, this just goes to show you, there were prominent people here in Louisville that told us. I was worried when we didn't get the commitment right around the time of the visit with Lucas because of his brother being at Florida State and other things. But there was one prominent message board, a guy that a lot of people respect, Jody, had posted on his board. Even then, I still feel confident we're going to get this kid. And we didn't. So it just goes to show you, anybody can be right. Anybody can be wrong at any time. And that's not a dig on Jody. That's just saying, somebody mentioned earlier, well, this guy never tells me anything wrong, but it told him something wrong. So look, we can only, we are not perfect. We can only relay to you all what we're told. With that being said, are there any other people on the horizon, anybody imminently anyway? Because we know there's going to be another round of transfer portal guys. They're going to come in the spring. They're going to battle out. Some are going to be like, I'm not good enough, and they're going to leave again, and we'll have more people come after spring practice. Is there anybody right now we should be on the watch for?
Not that I'm aware of. That's not to say that there's not, but one thing that I will tell you on, there's two things. Number one, well, not one thing I'll tell you. Obviously, there's two things now. 30 official visitors have visited the Cardinals. Jody, speaking of Jody, he was the one that tweeted this out, so giving him the credit here. 30 official visitors for Louisville from the portal. Over 20 of those ended up committing. So let's just say that they are putting up MLB absolute Hall of Fame unheard of numbers when talking about guys coming on visits. When a player is on visit at Louisville, they are automatically 100% already a serious target because you only have so many official visits in the portal. And if they're bringing them on for a visit, that shows that there is some serious interest both ways. Number two is, I think, Louisville learning their lesson from Nick Scourton's recruitment. The visit was announced. It was canceled because A&M's like, hey, why don't you not do that? And I think that you kind of learned your lesson a little bit because now you start to keep it close to vest. So what happens after the Scourton visit's canceled? I would venture into saying that the vast majority of people didn't know that 4 or maybe even 3 of these guys were coming on coming on campus for a visit. So it's going to be kind of the way of how things go is that we're going to find out names when they're already on campus. So none that I know of currently.
So what would you get really quickly, and we'll close this out, and then we'll head to the end of the show. And we'll start with Higgy because we haven't heard a lot from Higgy so far today. What would you give recruiting anyway? No, let's factor everything in together. What would be your grade for Coach Brahms so far?
And at year 1.5 mark, probably an A-. I think there's a lot of stuff that has been great, but at the same time, there's been things that have been difficult more than anything else. So an A- would be my grade. But I had a question for Dalton in regards to recruiting wise.
Okay, well, you can hold questions to the end of the class, Higgy. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, with the tight end room losing a commitment from the Ball State kid, what do we look forward to in the tight end room coming into the future and stuff? Are we going to be looking at more targets? Are we going to look at freshman developmental pieces? What are we going to look for within the tight end room?
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, I don't think this move really moves needles for me. I mean, it sucks that you lose a player, but Mark Redmond's going to be tight end 1 for this team, San Diego State transfer. You got in Isaiah Cummings, who I feel like is going to be a situational receiver. And then I have a lot of high hopes for Dylan Mesman, 4-star tight end signing. I think he's going to be very good Michigan tight end. Nate Kariski as well, Jamari Johnson. You factor in the guys at the position. I think that we'll see. But at this point in time, I don't really feel the need for there to be another tight end because you already have 5 that I think could be serviceable. So, or maybe even 6. So maybe it changes how you recruit in 2025 or the end of 2024 because Koziel could have been a multiple-year guy, but I don't think it changes what happened this year.
And we want to shout out Miss Kelly. Miss Kelly's watching on YouTube. Appreciate it. Or on, I don't know. It doesn't tell me where y'all are watching. It just tells me you're watching. We appreciate you tuning in. Wes, what about you? You're great for Coach Brown because, as Higgy brought up, there were some. I don't know what difficult things he was really talking about, but behind the scenes, we have all privately talked about some head scratching recruiting things that have went on. Like, what are we doing? Why didn't we do this or do that? But as far as overall for you, what grade do you give Coach Brown at the 12-month mark here? Not year and a half, 12 months.
Okay. Overall, I'd say A+. Because he goes after guys, he addresses every need, and he gets, for the most part, the guys he wants. There's been a few misses here and there, like we said with Scourton, of course, but that was more so not a miss, but the bag and going back home. But yeah, outside of that, like everything he's done has been exceptional. Like the offensive line, everybody went to the spring game last year. They saw how the offensive line was getting demolished in the spring game. Said, hey, we're going to swap all these guys out, bringing a bunch of veterans, bringing a bunch of new guys who can help out right away. The offensive line played great most of the year. Defensive line with whoever's leaving, they brought in some solid pieces. They brought in a bunch of guys on both sides of the ball that are just incredible. Like we said, Mendoza on the offensive line, big guy. The other guys you guys talked about that they brought in. Meeks is honestly my favorite out of everybody that's coming in so far. Watching his tape, the way he gets separation and high pointing the ball, like Dalton talked about, big play receiver, big body receiver, because we didn't have too many of those. And now we got him, Brooks, and Chris Bell. That's going to help out the offense a lot. And then Penny Boone with Isaac leaving, because we have a stable of great running backs, but it was very important to bring in another guy who could take over like the Jaws and Garindo workload.
All right, DP, what about you? Overall grade?
I mean, I feel like anything other than an A, in that variation, A+, A-, whatever you want to go with. I feel like we're once again seeing Brom do what's needed to be done to try to take this team to the next level. Not only is he adding your hashtag difference makers, but he's also adding some pretty solid depth pieces as well. A good mixture of both, because you do need both. And I think that we're sitting at an A right now. I don't see it getting any lower than that unless guys have a mass exodus. But there is a potential for A+ depending on who he can bring in at the end of this kind of portal offseason in the spring. So don't forget, Cardinals added Cam Kelly and Devin Neal during spring ball last year, and both of those guys played a pretty solid role. So just food for thought.
Absolutely. Has there been any update from anybody? And Wes, I know you do a lot of recruiting stuff, research too. There was a rumor the other day that the kid from Florida that committed was taking a visit elsewhere and that he may decommit. Have y'all heard anything further on that?
No.
So Jalen
Kimber?
Yeah,
Jalen Kimber. He took the visit to A&M. I don't know, I don't put it this way. This is all conjecture, right? I'm not sure if don't take this as gospel, but I do wonder if Kimber taking that visit had any type of, if that was the result of how the staff feels about a potential Quincy Riley announcement. Either way, I don't know. I would take both of them, to be completely honest with you. But in Kimber's situation, he's a guy that just started for Florida, even though a lot of Florida fans wanted him gone. He's probably going to want to start this upcoming year as well. Yeah. So who knows? But him taking a visit to A&M is in no way viewed as a good development for Louisville. So I think he's definitely one to keep an eye out on, sort of like Miles Slusher in last year's class.
Yeah, good point. It's exactly like that situation. Right after they commit, take a visit, go somewhere else.
Now, look, Wes, we want to, again, this is Wes's first episode officially of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, and we welcome him here. And, Wes, I know that Dalton and Higgy and Sean and Sam, they are our recruiting team. So any kind of things that you see during the day, if you want to DM them to help out a little bit, we do need some more recruiting content, especially this off season from football, because we're not going to have a whole lot to celebrate these next few months. Anything you see, if you'll just shoot it to Higgy or shoot it to Dalton or one of them, or Higgy, if you want to add Wes to the recruiting group, you have my blessing to do that. I feel like Wes is an asset. I think he's going to do big things for us here, and we really appreciate you joining us, man.
I appreciate you for having me.
Not a problem. All right, let's get caught up on the text line and end this so I can finish watching the Titans in the dreams of the Jaguars and get my Steelers into the playoffs.
You're welcome for that tax write-off victory y'all got yesterday.
Was that the same as the tax write-off victory we got at the beginning of the year when we smashed Lamar, when we made him make all those mistakes in the fourth quarter? Yeah, let's write that one off too, mother. Sorry. I just got a little.
I'll just wait till y'all lose big in the first round, and we'll be set more than anything.
I'm waiting for you to lose your shirt in the first round. He's a Ravens fan.
I was about to say, okay, yeah.
Is he a Ravens fan or a Lamar fan? How long you been a Ravens fan, Higgy?
Since Lamar.
Okay, so you can't say
because
a
Peyton Manning retired. Who was going to be my next quarterback?
Fair enough.
Yeah, but you're supposed to cheer for a team, not just for one person.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's fine. However you decide to fan, it is what it is. Wes got me heated for a second. Rito said I got the man in trouble. Sam, I apologize. I was just trying to make a joke. Next time, let us know you got people in the room that we didn't even know you were seeing anybody, or maybe it really was somebody that you needed to get out of the room really quick. I don't know what you did at the club last night. John Lindemann says, Wes, with that DSP internet. I'm not really sure what that means, but okay.
You said Dalton internet?
DSP. I know what he means. He don't mean that Dalton Penn. John is a peculiar little man. So we'll just
really is.
that. Rito says Penny Boone's NIL is going to go crazy. A penny saved is a penny earned. We got quarterbacks, nickelbacks, dimebacks. Now we got a penny back. That was a Sean joke I told the other day and immediately regretted. Babu says, forget Baby Butts. He's going to be Baby Bush. Brian McGlasson says, Offrey has the best recruiting rankings until they commit to Louisville. I don't disagree. John Lindemann says it's not polite to point West. Well, if you weren't so short, then he wouldn't have to point down at you.
Thank you.
Carrito says Kiwan was a solid piece. He still could be. What are our weakest spots right now on football? I'll let Dalton address that here in a second after we get caught up. I'll go ahead and throw that up on the board, though. Terry is
cornerback. There you go.
Okay, well, never mind. Let's take it off the board. I didn't even want to see your tweet on the board anyway, Jeff.
Simple as that.
Hicks and Turner can do what Lucas does. Turner has elite speed if coach lets him return kickoffs and punts. Wes making it to the big time. Congrats, T. Will. We appreciate you, brother. We're not the big time by no means, but we are pretty awesome. Too bad he couldn't play with Plummer with how high he. Look, I still am convinced if any other quarterback starts for us this year, and the season ends a lot differently and a lot more successfully, I think. Thresh had a heck of a catch radius as Chad. Lole getting another year. I don't know if Lole's getting another year. Can't control what kids do. They're kids. That's a good rate. Let's go, Brom. Lock them in.
Thanks again, T. Will.
John Lindemann says head scratchers the end of the year. Yeah, I mean, there was Mike Rainey worried about the D-line and defensive backfield. Feel like we need more depth. We're adding more depth. Chad Brocky reminds us all MJ Griffin returns next year. Robert Holt, subscriber, wants to know how TJ Capers is coming along. Jeff says, yay, Wes. Look, Jeff, he does the spaces with you, right?
Yeah.
That's my guy, too.
That's my buddy.
John Lindemann says, remember us little people, Wes. T-Will wants to get our thoughts on Ron English, and congrats again to Wes. I will defer Ron English to DP, but how is TJ Capers coming along? That's a great question. Wes, how do you feel like he's coming along?
I haven't really got to see too much of him in practice because we know he's been injured the majority of the offseason after surgery and everything. So he didn't work too much. I saw him out there because I went to a bunch of the open practices during the offseason, but didn't really get to see too much of him.
Fair enough.
Maybe 1 or 2 drills and stuff, but the jury's still out on that, and we know spring will be here before we know it, and the open practices will be back going. So I'm going to do my best to be there and let you know about it then.
You may get to cover a couple of them for the website, man. You might get to be on the field this year.
Hey.
Is that a dream come true? Is it a dream come? Tell us how much you love
it. It definitely is.
Cardinal Sports Zone was your childhood dream. That was we want you to praise. You're the look. I told him yesterday. He's the rookie of the podcast, and as the rookie of the podcast, he's got to pay for all the meals of the last rookie of the podcast. Unfortunately, that was Higgy.
I got Higgy on a meal or 2, not all.
No, you may not survive after the first one.
A meal or 2.
DP, your thoughts on Ron English?
First part of the season was solid. Defense won us a couple of games. Something's got to change with the scheme. Secondary got gashed way too often. If you want to call it a personnel thing, I'm not really buying it. You had Quincy Riley, one of the best cornerbacks in the country, on your defense, and you had some playmakers on the defense as well. I don't really look at it as a personnel issue. I look at it as more of a scheme issue. That's for Ron English to decide. But year two, a lot of eyes will be focused on the Cardinals defense that really, really struggled in the past 5-6 games.
It was like Jekyll and Hyde. There were two different defenses in the first half and the second half of the. Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. I would actually go back to the Pittsburgh game.
Yeah,
I would say Louisville through Notre Dame was amazing on defense. I would say Louisville sans Notre Dame was just above average, and it was like you're saying, it wasn't the personnel. It was what was being. It almost looked like Brian Brown had snuck in and kneecapped Ron English in the middle of the season and took over. Corey wants to know one last question, and then we're going to wrap this up because we don't want to go any more than 90 minutes on Sunday. We appreciate y'all taking all this time and sticking with us. Corey wants to know, with quarterback being the weakest link, who gets the starting job? Dalton, we'll go with you. Wes, we'll go with you first on this one since you went ahead and called for the ball. We'll throw you the ball.
Okay, cool. But nah, honestly, I feel like Shuck could be the guy, but I like seeing that video of Pierce Clarkson and Jamari Johnson out in California getting those workouts in. Pierce looks good throwing the ball. Who knows what can happen? Like we said about TJ, Pierce was out during spring ball last year, so he really didn't have a chance to get out there on the field and really practice and get a lot of work in with the guys. But who's to say he doesn't have a big offseason and take the keys from Shuck before Shuck can even get him?
Fair enough. Dalton?
Oh, shucks.
I hate him so much. I hate him so. Where's that music at we used to play when Dalton was on? I'm just kidding. Higgy, what about you?
Who starts? Shucks.
His name's not Shucks.
Let's just say if he is the starter, I like the way he plays. We talked about him running two high-powered offenses at Oregon and Texas Tech. And he throws the ball with some zip on it, and the offense next year, I already said it, you might have to hit the button instead of using Sean's button. Unshucking believable.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I hate that. I hate all of you actually right now.
Wes. Go ahead and log off, buddy.
You're going to have to hop out of the chat right now. But
wrap him up in some bubble wrap, though, man, because if he gets hurt.
Yeah. But
who, Wes or Sean or Shuck?
Shuck.
Okay. Making sure. All right, and shout out to Melissa who just joined us for the show. You'll have to go back and listen to the beginning of the show. Brian says, Wes, I'll help with the meals. It might be up there, though. Listen, we went to 4 pegs so he could do the Ali challenge, which was about a $100 bill, and he failed miserably. Like, he didn't even get through 1/10 of the meal. The whole table, and it's like, Higgy explained to him what it was. It's like 2 pounds of cheese fries.
Oh, God.
And then it's a burger that has like 8 patties, 10 slices of cheese, fried pickles, mozzarella sticks, lettuce, tomato. And what else was on it, Higgy? I know I'm leaving some stuff out. Onion rings?
I'm trying to find back the picture here.
Dude, that sounds crazy.
Well, while you're looking for the picture, let's go ahead and shout out our fine photographers at CardinalSportsZone.com, TJ Barr, Justin Kruger, Jeff Nunn. Within 10 minutes of the end of the show, we will have Jeff Nunn's latest photo gallery. He went and he tagged in for TJ yesterday in basketball, took a photo gallery for the Pittsburgh game. We'll have that up on the website sometime within the next hour. I say within the next 10 minutes, but I got to do the post for this and edit the show. So within the next hour, we'll get Jeff's post out there for you all to see. He truly is one of the best sports photographers I've ever been around. Rapid fire. Women's basketball picked up their program win, number 1,000. Thursday's win over Duke. Like Sam brought up earlier, Lamar was named to another Pro Bowl.
Yep.
Senior offensive lineman Eric Miller going to college gridiron showcase. This showcase shows off top-level seniors in the country, according to Higgy. Ashton Gelati named to ESPN's top 100 players in college football. He was number 78. Jada Curry joined the 1,000-point club with a victory over Miami, and Kiki Jefferson joined the 2,000-point club. Isaac Grendo, we already mentioned this. He entered the NFL draft. Happy birthday to Lamar and Reese, as we said earlier, and make sure you're supporting the Photogs. Rito says, Wes, you're going to need EBT to pay for Higgy Mills, bro. Just kidding. Man, Wes, how old? Can I ask how old you are?
I just turned 29.
29. Okay, so he probably don't remember, Rito, like we remember those books of the food stamps that came out when we was kids. He's going to need to go back and get the booklets of them to help out with that excursion. That's it. It wasn't no electronic nothing. It was straight up greenbacks at that time. Again, shout out to all our fine sponsors, Fitness Market, Four Pick Smokehouse, and the Collision Crew Course Tailgate. We are working on more, as I said earlier. If you want to sponsor the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, it's real easy. Shoot me an email to the address that is about to appear right over Wes's face. Oh, no, a little bit. We'll get you taken care of. We'll set up some deals. We can do on-site shows for a nominal fee. We can do it all. Just get in touch with us. We'll set you up. I'll send you the info packet. We'll get it all taken care of. Social media, again, we're on YouTube now. If you're watching us on Facebook, switch over to YouTube. It's more beneficial for us for not only the dividends that we get off of each show, but for exposure and stuff. So migrate over to YouTube if you can. If you can't, please continue to support us like you do at all the social media sites that are below Higgy and his Tumblr. I still need to get that Cardinal Sports Zone one corrected, because if you search for Cardinal Sports Zone on YouTube, 2 of them pop up. It's our old one that we had around the Sugar Bowl time that we just kind of stopped doing after the Sugar Bowl for some reason. And the new one we just started up a couple seasons ago. If you type in Cardinal Sports Zone 55 though in the search bar of YouTube, the correct one will pop up. It'll have our current logo as opposed to one that kind of looked like it was a Florida State type logo. I don't know who did that logo for us, but it was like a spear through CSZ. It was all right, but it was definitely not the right move. Shout out to Justin for making that decision on getting it. You can find the podcast. Speaking of the podcast, you can find it on all the podcast avenues: Apple, iTunes, Buzzsprout, Spotify, TuneIn, Google, Amazon, and iHeart. Hit the subscribe button, the like button, the thumbs up, the heart, the follow, the stalk, the tail, whatever it is you got to do to follow us. Hit the subscribe button. If you've not listened to all the prior episodes of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, it's real easy. Go to cardinalsportszone.com, the place it all began. Go to the podcast drop-down menu, hit CSZ Podcast, and check them out. Higgy keeps those up to date, so you will be able to catch every podcast ever, the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, right there at that drop-down tab. We want to shout out to everybody out there that's sharing the podcast. We appreciate, love you. Hit that. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. And as always, shout out to our guys, Marcus Maben, Steve Rummage, doing the Lord's work Monday through Friday from 10 to noon on ESPN 93.9 The Ville. And Nick does some work from time to time. Not a lot, but sometimes. Dalton, it's got y'all pushed up because of the sponsors thing. Sorry, let's take that off. There we go. Dalton, where can people find you on social media?
Find me at @dpence_ on Twitter. And yeah. Okay.
If that's the only place you want to be contacted at or followed, that's fine. Higgy, what about you?
I am the Higgy, as always.
Okay, so you don't have any more like 4Gs, 7Ys that you got it fixed correctly? And the newest member of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast and Live of 55 crew, Wes, where can they find you on social media?
Lyrical Mind _2 on Twitter. Contro _1295 with a K on Instagram.
I didn't ask for like war codes or anything. I'm asking you for your social media.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Jim.
Listen, that's what it is for now, because I have it on good authority that he's going to be changing his Twitter to Wes Keys _CSZ in a few days.
Okay, fair enough. I will.
I'm just kidding. You can do whatever you want to, man. I'm just playing.
And Wesley Keys on Facebook, government name.
Well, listen, he's not an industry plant. He's the real deal. I promise you that. And I don't even see a big deal. So what? If Kevin Hart was an industry plant, he's one of the funniest guys, if not the funniest guy alive. So just don't be mad that you're 50-something years old and your voice still sounds like a little girl that's whining all the time. Sorry. Sometimes you got to skin the cat.
Fair enough.
Sometimes you got to skin the cat. It is what it is. Listen, okay. Sorry, I had to catch up on my place on the script. Stay tuned to our social media and subscribe to us on YouTube or Facebook to be alerted anytime we go live, even though we prefer on YouTube. That's how Live of 55 will go. We go get through a couple of days. We're going to do, I slipped up earlier and said we'll be here every Sunday at 2. We're going to try to go every 2 weeks during basketball season. The alternating week, we'll do a Live of 55 during the week to catch you up on everything. I'm probably going to do a Live of 55 every single week just so we can, like, those that have tuned into Live with 55, y'all know sometimes we don't even talk about Louisville stuff. We talk about life and we have a good time and we have some fun. So it is what it is as far as that's concerned. Uncle Larry, what's good, man? Finally joining us with 2 seconds left on the clock. We appreciate it. But yeah, we will join you every 2 weeks for the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, and episode 200 is the next episode right around the corner. Going to be special. I'm working on a guest that everybody is going to love. I'll let these guys know after the podcast so I can see Higgy's shirt grow 3 sizes too small. Listen, tune in during the week again for Live 55 for any updates throughout our off time during the week. Wes and Higgy will join me for the Live with 55s. Always, anybody else is welcome. Maybe that's what we'll do to pronounce this, is on Live with 55. I think that's probably the best move. But anybody's welcome. Dalton's welcome to do those with us. I just know how much he's got on his plate, how much Sean is in the basement, and how much Sam has apparently in his bedroom. So I don't want to, take them from doing stuff that they need to do throughout the week. So we'll have Live with 55s. Last words, we're going to go with Dalton first. Your last words for this week. A great episode. Episode 199, Dalton. It's history, man.
Yes, sir. Almost to 200, but appreciate y'all tuning in. And I really don't have anything, man.
All right. Higgy.
I do have one thing. Don't forget to get your pet spayed and neutered according to Joey. What was his?
Absolutely. Control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered.
There you go.
Damon Martin, what's good, man? How you been doing, brother? Good to hear from you. James is in the building. Uncle Larry's in the building. Rito's laughing. All right, Higgy, your last words?
I was just going to say happy birthday to the GOAT more than anything else. So,
it's not my birthday. Wes, what about your last words? Higgy never follows directions.
No, he really doesn't. But anyway, excited to be a part of the group, man. Excited to be a part of the family. I appreciate the opportunity. Ready for the future, man. Let's keep it going.
Well, listen, we don't have very high standards because Higgy's still here. So you can mess up a lot and still be here. Biggest biscuit in the building. Dave Skull, appreciate you tuning in for a few seconds, man. We love us some biscuit with and without gravy here on the show. My final words are this. On the last episode of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, I requested prayer for one of my college teammates. Chris Redmond, his son, had been diagnosed with, I think it was lymphoma, some sort of cancer. Happy to report they did his follow-up test on him this past weekend, and he is cancer-free. So shout out. Amazing. Great news. I know a lot of people don't beat it, so when you do have people that do, it's very, very special. My dad was fortunate enough to beat it 3 times. 4th time happened during COVID, and he wasn't able to beat it that time because of COVID. So I'm very, 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 very happy for Chris and his family. Was very worried about Britt and glad that he is going to be able to live a normal life. And he still has some treatments he's got to finish up, but everything points to the fact that he's going to be A-okay. Garrett, what's up, man? Corey, what's good? Go Cards for sure. James wants to get Higgy with it. You and his wife, that's the only 2 people that want to get Higgy with it. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Look, as always, thank you, God, for letting us come to you for episode 199. We appreciate everything you do for us. Next episode of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, we're going to bring back, and we just decided that we may do this on Live with 55, but Pronounce This is coming back. For those of y'all that have not been tuned in the whole 5 years we've been around, heading towards year 6, we had a segment the first year of the show called Pronounce This, where we took 3 or 4 syllable words that were pretty easy for kindergartners to say, and we gave them to Higgy to say, and he butchered them like he was the Sam from the Brady Bunch, or the Swedish Chef from the Muppet. Just horrible. So looking forward to bring that back. Have some fun. I have challenged the guys in our private chat this week. Come up with some new segments. Come up with some fun. We don't have to always be serious. And with the next 4 or 5 months we have going on, we're going to need to have some. Y'all, we want y'all to tune in to have fun with us. I love to entertain. Eat a Diss. That was a good one that we used to have too, John. We need to have some more Eat a Disses. But let's have some fun together. Let's get through this rough time together. At the end of the day, it is just sports. People have had way more important things that they've needed to be rallied around. but for our sports sanity, let's come together. Let's have a good time. Let's knock it out. Let's have some good. They're going to come up with some good segments, and we're going to have some fun for Dalton, for hopefully a Sam that's not in witness protection any longer, for Higgy, for Wes. Listen, we thank you all again for all the support. We love y'all, and until next time, this has been the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast. Shout out also to our guy, Gibby, working on our new intro video that is going to smash it out of the park. Can't wait for the Gibby B-Sim collaboration. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be well worth every penny I spent for it. You guys, we're out of here. This has been the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast once again. Shout out Higgy for working. Higgy does work in Cardinal Sports Zone, baby. Let's go.